I'm just so
The governor wants to announce it, so you want me to start doing my normal stuff and turn it over to him. Got it. Okay.
Good afternoon, folks. Good to see everybody. Now, I have to use this microphone because we're streaming, or I would just try to talk loud and not use this mic. So I'm going to use this microphone. If I sound too loud, I'll pull it away a little bit. Okay? It's wonderful up here in Lewisburg. I was telling someone from the crowd here, Drew Pendleton's mother, I'm from Kanawha County. You know, Kanawha County is a beautiful place, but you never appreciated how beautiful West Virginia is until you've been to Lewisburg on an October afternoon. It is absolutely spectacular up here, and I'm going to go back and note some of the downtown things that you folks have done. I'm Dave Hardy. I'm Secretary of Revenue for the Governor. The Governor, of course, is coming in the back here, the boss, so I hate myself. I was on Charleston City Council for 6 years, and I was a Kanawha County Commissioner for 16 years. Governor, come on up. So I understand local government. I certainly understand local government, and I know how important local government is. For those of you that really know Kanawha County, I'm originally from East Bank, West Virginia, so nobody loves this state more than I do, and that's why in January of 17, when the governor, that time he didn't have Babydog, now Babydog's the governor, when the governor asked me to become Secretary of Revenue, I resigned my position as Kanawha County Commissioner, and I became Secretary of Revenue, and the governor and I together, along with my deputy, Mark Muco, who has 38 years experience in state government, and we looked at the state's financial picture, and I said, wait a minute, these reports down here have got red numbers on them with brackets around them. And the first report we looked at, this was January of 2017, West Virginia's books were $217 million in the hole for the remainder of that fiscal year, which was 5 months. And I thought, wow, really bad. Then I looked at the next report, on the next page, and it was for fiscal year 2018, our book showed that we were in a $497 million deficit. So when I added up East Bank High School math, added those two numbers together, I said, my goodness, we're $700 million underwater, and I just got here 15 minutes ago. That was the starting point that this governor took when we came there together in January 17th. Now I'm going to fast forward. Time goes by so fast. June 30th of 22, 3 months ago, we closed our books for fiscal 22, and West Virginia's revenue books and our surplus for fiscal year 22 was $1.308 billion, thanks to the leadership of Jim Justice. Our revenue went up 22% in one fiscal year since this gentleman became governor of Virginia. Let's give him an applause for that. So we started thinking, wow, we've got an opportunity here. We're going to have a chance to do something extraordinary. We're going to refine and start giving back West Virginians some of our revenue. And we said, well, how are we going to do that? We looked around. There are 50 states in the United States. 9 do not have an income tax. Those 9 states are exploding in growth. The population growth of the 9 states that don't have an income tax is twice as fast as the other 41 states. The economy in the 9 states that don't have an income tax, and most of you know these states. We're talking about Texas, we're talking about Florida, we're talking about Tennessee, Nevada, Wyoming, Alaska, The economy in those states in the last 10 years has grown 56% faster than the economy in the rest of the states. So it became clear to us, this gentleman here swings for fences. He doesn't swing for singles, he swings for home runs. He said, let's make a goal that we are going to eliminate the state income tax in the state of West Virginia. And if we do that, not only are we going to give back the people of West Virginia over $2 billion in their pocket and spend, we're going to make West Virginia a place where people want to come. People want to move. And you know, the studies about telework, all those studies are out already. Telework is not the future, or telework is not now, or get it right here. Telework is not the future, telework is now. And the economy is adjusting to telework, and what we're seeing across the country is teleworkers want to go, where do they want to go? They want to go to places like Lewisburg, West Virginia, where you have a beautiful quality of life, and you have no income tax. And that's our goal, to bring down the tax burden for workers so we can attract these 21st century employees. So moving forward, let me say this, between Mark Muco and me, we have 61 years of government budget experience. Now I want to talk to you about Amendment 2. Amendment 2 is a bad idea for West Virginia. You might call it a shipwreck, or you can call it a train wreck. Either title applies. What Amendment 2 says, and I might add, if Amendment 2 passes, our goal of eliminating the state income tax is going to be a distant memory. Do it. We have to be able to come up with a plan that's responsible, and we can't eliminate the state income tax if we pass Amendment 2. Amendment 2 says this. Back in November 1932, 90 years ago, the people of West Virginia passed a constitutional amendment. That amendment says that property taxes will be used by local governments. That is baked in the West Virginia Constitution. When I say government, I mean the county commissions, I mean the school boards, and I mean the city governments, all of which are very important. I spent 22 years in city and county government. Amendment 2 guarantees that revenue stream to local government. Or the Constitution guarantees that revenue stream. If you pass Amendment 2, Amendment 2 says give that power, give it up, and give it to the legislature in Charleston, West Virginia. And then, oh, by the way, the legislature has promised you they will be more than happy every year, every March, for the next 100 years, to pass a budget and give you that money back. Does that sound like a good idea? You're betting on what we call the COM. You're betting on the COM. You're giving up your guaranteed, constitutionally guaranteed revenue source, and you're asking the West Virginia legislature and every governor for the next 100 years to promise to pass a budget every year and give you that revenue back. Now, are you willing to bet the revenue streams that come out of this fine county to hand it to the West Virginia legislature forevermore? That is talking about taking local government and handing it to Charleston, West Virginia. That's exactly what you're doing. So I'm going to be quiet now, and I'm going to be proud to introduce to you the 36th governor of the great state of West Virginia, Governor Jim Justice.
Okay, first of all, thank y'all for having me, commissioners, and many of the other people here. You know, but and also, you know, thank you for having Babydog, because I didn't take her to the thing out at the groundbreaking, and when I don't take her, then all I get is people to criticize and holler at me. And the mayor said, "You got to bring her," and I said, "Okay, I'll go back by the house and get her." And so that's what we did. Now, if I could just tell you just this, and I'll try to be as brief as I possibly can. First of all, like many of y'all, I love Lewisburg, I love our county, I love our schools. I mean, it is really a real honor to be a part of the county. And from that standpoint, you know, I've tried to, from the governor's side, I've tried to steer as many things as I possibly can our way in a really positive way, whether it be roads or broadband or whatever it may be. All those things, you know, are making us more and more attractive to people on the outside that want to come. Okay? Now, take the Ascend project and everything, but there's, you know, where we have, I don't know, thousands of folks that had a real interest, and you had 50 spots, you know, and there's so many challenges. You know, the one big obstacle we got over, and maybe over the hump today, was water. You know, when your water plant is tapped out at 100% capacities, and people wanting to come, well, where we're going to put them and how we're going to make it work. So, all that being said, no matter what the idea is, no matter what and I commend you so much in so many directions. You know, I have really tried to really backstop and be right behind you. Now, with all that being said, I want you to just think about just this. You know, I'm a real believer. You know, I have really rock solid conservative values. I'm really proud that I'm a Republican. You know, my family was forever. And I'm a real believer in life and our guns and all the different things. And I'm so rock solid in, from the standpoint of believing that you got a mind to store, cut out as much waste as you cut out. But at the same time, all of that, I'm a real believer in just this, that the folks that get up every day and they get their dinner buckets and they go to work are the people that we should first and foremost be looking after. Now, Amendment 2 may have been spawned with a decent idea, you know, but the idea, a lot of legislatures probably went along and voted to go that way, that it sounded okay. But now, when we really get in the weeds, I'd bet my life that they're having a lot of second thoughts. Because there is a toxicity here that can run across all of us, and if you don't watch out, if you don't listen to me, then I'm going to run into you in Walmart, because I'm not going to lose in this deal. Either we're going to win this, and Amendment 2 is going to go up in flames, or when I see you in Walmart, I'm going to look right at you and say, I told you so. Because that's all I can do. All I can do is come and tell you what's on the table right now. Now just think about it. If we passed Amendment 2, what's going to happen? We're going to immediately get rid of the machinery and inventory tax in West Virginia. We have put with it, we're going to get rid of your car tax, and why is that with it? By your vote. By your vote. That's the only reason that that's with it. There is no other reason at all. Now, at the end of the day, I've said, let's get on a pathway of doing something that is proven beyond belief that will drive growth and goodness to West Virginia. We need people in West Virginia. For God's sakes, living, we need people in West Virginia. Then ask yourself, I mean, I said, let's cut 10% of the income tax. I mean, just get us on a pathway. Let's get started. Well, that 10% cut would have put roughly between $254 and $270 million back in your pockets. The car deal will put about $140 million back in your pockets. At the end of the day, too, when you hook the car deal and the machinery and inventory tax together, you're hooking together probably $600 million that you're going to have to some way bet on to come in a big way, that things are going to be really good going forward, or if you really believe, as I believe, that we could have a bad year, a bump in the road. And anybody that doesn't believe that's a nut. But if we have a bump in the road, and really and truly it comes time to give that money back to you, to the counties, it may very well not come back. And if it doesn't come back, you're as upside down as upside down could ever be. Whether it be all of your services, your firemen, your EMS, everything. And then, on top of all that, as I always call it, just dupe happens. You've got to protect yourself against all across. What if PEI is upside down? What if we need pay raises for our state employees? I mean, what if we need matching dollars to get federal monies for highways, like is right in front of us right now? If you don't bake those into the system, and they come, and you're just hanging on, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And it even gets worse. It really gets worse. Now, how many of you are getting a paycheck from somebody? Now, just raise your hand. Getting a paycheck, okay? Well, if we get rid of your personal income tax, you'll see it tomorrow. And what we were going to do, we were going to let your paychecks keep flowing just like they're flowing, but every 3 months send you the money back. And when we send you the money back, in all honesty, what you would do is probably you'd spend it. And if you spend it, it would be the greatest driver for our own economy. It'd be off the chart. You know, now, there's all kinds of ways to do it. But if you're getting a paycheck, just ask yourself just one thing. If we get rid of the machinery and inventory tax, is it going to affect you? If you're getting a paycheck, and most everybody in here raised their hand, if you're getting a paycheck, is it going to benefit tomorrow you? The answer is no. You know who it's going to benefit? Me. Me. The very guy that's sitting here telling you don't do it. Because honest to goodness, it will affect me to the tune of millions of dollars for me. Big, not me out of state, because I'm here. But big corporations, Dow Chemical, and on and on and on. Big corporations, that their ownership is who knows where, are going to get an unbelievable tax break. And then you're going to be at risk. Like it or not like it, you are. Every year, no matter, they can come all day long and tell you, we're going to give you more money. Now, Bob Pruitt said this to me, and it's so right. He said, and our secretary just said the same kind of thing, but now just think about it. What if a bunch of politicians from Charleston came to you and said, give us all your wallets, and we're going to take all your money, and we promise we're going to give it back? Now, and I don't know how to say this any more bluntly than this. If you believe that, I've got great oceanfront property in Kansas that I'll sell you tomorrow. Because politicians come and go. The very politicians that may be saying that to you may not get elected. They may not even be there. And you're in trouble. You're in real trouble. This state's doing great. And I commend everybody that have pulled the road together. I could give a hoot if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. I don't care. You see, when I walked in the door, and like it or not like it, but I've really been blessed because the good Lord is really looking after me. You see, I really believe that He made me Jim Justice for a reason and made all of you who you are for a reason. I don't want anything. I don't want a thing in the world. No lobbyist can do anything, give me anything. Hot tempers know nothing that I want. But if you'll just step back and say, in D.C. today, we refer to it so many times as the swamp, don't we? Do you really know what that really means? What that means is this: is you have all these elected officials that are in D.C., And instead of just independently voting their conscience on issues, you have people come bombarding them nonstop. And they have money, real money. And they say, we're going to give you X dollars, and not only that, we're going to prop up your campaign funds, and not only that, we're going to support you in this election. And basically, they just buy you. And then they own your vote. And then you go vote for them. And at the end of the day, that's the swamp. Think what's going on right as we speak in Charleston. In Charleston today, Charleston is trying to tell you, give up your local control. For God's sakes, living, you know so much better what to do here in this area than what Charleston knows to do for you. It is all, and why? Why are they doing that? They're doing that because they have sold their vote. At the end of the day, whether it be the manufacturers or the chamber, whomever is driving this train, is saying, just like, what if there was 100 Jim Justices that were down there and were passing out money and everything else so Jim Justice could get a big tax break? That's what you got going on. And you don't know it. And the people out there on the street don't have one clue about it. So from my standpoint, I've got one or two choices. I can just go along and ride the wave, and I can ride the wave till the end of the 2 more years, and I'll be gone irregardless. I can ride that wave, and I can go everywhere and cut every ribbon in the world just like we did today. I can absolutely do every ground breaking. I can do everything in the world. And odds are, if we truly evaluate it, I could go down as the greatest governor, the greatest governor, the greatest governor of all time, 100,000 to 1. I can do that, or I can come here and tell you. You see, I have no interest in just cutting the ribbons and hanging out. I have only one interest, and it's you. And you may say anything. You may throw any rock. You may say anything in the world you want to say about me, but that is the God's fact. And that's really important to me. It's the God's fact. So at the end of the day, really and truly, what I'm telling you is some way, somehow, you've got to become disciples. And you've got to go out and tell the people. Because the airwaves are going to be bombarded by the big money of the big corporations that have the politicians' votes bought. They're going to tell everybody, do this and we'll get rid of your car tax. Well, I'll tell you the first thing I will promise to the Lord above. The first bill that I'll promise you that I'll send up in the regular session is to adequately fund and pay you back any dollar that you would possibly be spending on your car tax. I'd do it in a second because I would be for it 1,000 million to 1. But literally, what you are doing is you're giving up your soul in order to get rid of your car tax. And you don't know it. Many people out there believe that Amendment 2 is about guns. You know, they don't know it. And they don't know what could happen. You could spin around 5 times and you could be in a world of hurt. And I'll guarantee you to God above again, we have Nucor coming and green power and pure watercraft and everything in the world is happening all over this state. In every direction you can. I've never had one come to me and say, I'd come to West Virginia, Justice, if you'd get rid of that machinery and inventory tax. I've never had one. Think about this just for a second. And I'll probably get in trouble with my coal comrades or the gas comrades or whatever, but just think of just this. Heaven to Betsy, I came with the idea, get rid of, tier the severance tax on oil and gas and coal. And we didn't get it done. Do you have any clue what that cost you? It cost you everything there is in America, just about. Gas at the time, if we would have tiered, I mean, just think, I'm going to go through this math just a second, so I'm going to bore you just a little bit, okay? Think about it. Bob Murray, who ran Murray Coal Company, the biggest company, and basically controlled about half of the total steam coal production in all of West Virginia, came to me and handed me his request to tier severance tax on coal. His thing said at $74 severance tax on coal, at 74 and above went to 10%. Well, steam coal today is $200. Any way you cut it. So every ton of steam coal today would be taxed at 10%. And those operators, and my family's in the coal business too, those operators would still be bathing in money. Bathing in money. We wouldn't even know it and everything. We're taxing them at 3. Now, if you just step back and think, the delta between 3 and 10 is 7. 7% of $200 is $14 more a ton. $14 a ton on 80 million tons is $1 billion more. $1 billion more for the delta that would be coming to us. And you know what? Metallurgical coal is almost equal to that. And you know what? Gas is almost equal to 2 of them put together. And we just poof. We threw it away. You know what the total, that's $4 billion. You know what the total budget of all West Virginia is? It's like $4.7 billion. You could have almost doubled with the delta, just with the delta. Now that's probably exaggerated a little bit to the high side, but it's still more money than any of us could ever comprehend. We just threw it away. And we don't watch out, we're going to throw it away again. And at the end of the day, and I'm winding down here. At the end of the day, and then I'll answer a question, I'll try to, that you want. But at the end of the day, if you step back from it, and you just say just this, Elmer and Edith, or Toby and Edith, go to work every day. If we get rid of the machinery and inventory tax, we're going to benefit big, giant companies. And Toby and Edith are hurting like crazy today because of inflation, $5 gas, or whatever it may be, and who knows what it could possibly go to, and groceries where they are and everything. And Toby and Edith are not going to get doodly. No, they're not. You know. And most all of y'all are Toby and Edith. Babydog's head gets really heavy and she just lays it down. But listen to me. At the end of the day, if this goes, you're just signing up and you're just letting Charleston, that I feel like can very well be the swamp. It is the swamp. Delegates, senators are constantly bombarded with every perk in the world from every lobbyist in the world. The reason they're bombarded is those lobbyists want their vote. That's all there's to it. And literally, at the end of the day, that's what you got going on right here. Now, I'll answer any question. I love you more than, well, I guess this is to announce. Now, think about this. I don't want to fall off here. This stool's really sturdy, though. Think about this. And this is month after month after month, and we've honestly become numb to it. You know, I don't want at any time to be braggadocious about stuff. Politicians stand on soapboxes and they tell you how great they are on everything coming or going. All I want to do is just tell you the truth. I am a business guy, and I've been around a long time. You know, the white hair signifies that. And I can tell you without any question, when I walked in the door, our state was bankrupt. Now, you can say what you want, but it was bankrupt. And the only thing we knew to do was cut. And the more we cut, the more people left. Now, they did. And the more they left, the further we drug that hole right with us. We couldn't get away from it. Now, it was dead as bankrupt could be. And today we got all these incredible surpluses going on, and people that want to come to West Virginia, if we need to craft an incentive program together to get them, like a Nucor or whomever it may be, to get them and put together some type of program, we have surpluses to be able to do it. If we get rid of the machinery and inventory tax, your car tax, and whatever else with, if you get rid of that, you could forget the income tax forever. But if we get rid of that and everything else, the odds are the surpluses are going to evaporate, and as if they evaporate, the ability to recruit those businesses and give them stuff to bring them here is going to evaporate, and it just goes on and on. But now get this, and I'm really proud of this, but this is your money, and I'm trying every way in the world to give it back. Every way in the world. And just think about it, September. Now this is only for the months of July, August, and September. We've only been at this 3 months this year. Last year we had $1.3 billion of surplus. Now 3 months. In the month of September, and I just got this 5 minutes ago, and let me make sure I get this right. In the month of September, we were another $192.8 million above estimate. $427 million above estimate for 3 months. Honest to goodness, I was trying to put together 2 years ago to get rid of your income tax, a way to get you on a pathway to do that without any money. But if there was a way to really do it and put it all together, and get us on a real pathway to do it, the last of my last words is just this. Is there anybody here that believes, that if you got rid of the income tax in West Virginia, first of all, I'm one that would tell you that if you get rid of the machinery inventory tax, you're betting on a hope. You're betting on a hope. You're going to level out the field out there and hope they come. Now that's what you're doing. You're betting on a hope. Any way you cut it. Is there anybody here that believes if you could really genuinely get rid of the personal income tax in West Virginia, that West Virginia wouldn't grow like crazy? I mean, is there anybody that could believe such a thought? Every state that has no income taxes is growing off the chart. Absolutely, people would come from any and everywhere, and you can do it today if we don't blow our own legs off. My last comments is just this. You're being hoodwinked into voting for something, and somebody raise their hand if you've seen the Senate bill that is explaining to you what the cost of getting the machinery and inventory tax gone, what's going to happen to the budget. Has anybody here seen it? I don't think so. Now, you're being asked to vote to give them complete control, and they're telling you what they're going to do with your money, and you haven't even seen it. And I haven't really, I have, and I'm telling you, there's so many holes in the bucket with it, it's off the chart. The number one thing about it, did you ever find that sheet of paper?
Yes.
Oh, praise the Lord. No, you can't do this again.
I got it. I got lots of paper.
We did this the other day. I told the people the other day, we're really going to miss staying home.
There it is.
All right, let me see that. No, let me see. Now, in their bill, and this is why I say to you, you can't possibly run your house this way. In their bill, they say that they're going to have for fiscal year 23, 24, 25, and 26, a complete flat budget. Complete flat. And it's going to be 4.645, 4.645, 4.645, 4.645. Now, if it doesn't work that way, and you have all the things that we know are out there, inflation, PEI, pay raises, everything, matching dollars, everything in the world is there. If it doesn't go that way, everything goes upside down. And when it goes upside down, then they're going to look right back at you guys. They're going to look right at you and they're going to say, we can do 80% of what we were doing. And then you're going to have to figure it out and you're going to have to cut. Now, if you don't believe that's at least a risk, then you're really making a bad mistake. And all I could possibly do is just be here and just some way, somehow tell you. And then we're going to have to do it because they have a system in place, a groundswell from the standpoint of big companies. And I love big companies. For God's sake, a living. I'm not downing the big companies, but I'm a real believer that the big companies are doing good enough. And the big companies are not asking me for stuff. I mean, think about this. We crafted a deal with Nucor where Nucor got almost $300 million. Do we need to do something else? We need to do something for Toby and Edith out there. That's who we need to be helping. That's my thinking. This has got big risk with it. Now ask me anything you choose to ask, please.
How do you think you can get the message out to everybody when the Senate is not for you? You know, how can you get that message out? I'm going to take some signs home if you give me some signs and put them up.
Well, I don't have any signs to give you.
Give me some and I'll put them
But
up.
Andy, what I need you to do is just this. We need to decide, I mean, really, we need to decide that we can't let City Hall run us if we think City Hall's doing the bad stuff. We have to have the groundswell from all of us. And you got a little over a month. Now, I'm going to try everything I can possibly try, you know, but at the end of the day, we got to have you. We got to have you talking to people, you know, because this seems so innocent. It just seems so innocent. Well, listen, here's what we'll do. If we can run all this out of Charleston, we'll make it more efficient, and we'll do it better, and we'll send you more money. Well, you know, look. At the end of the day, somebody's going to get a $600 million break. And it's the way I would say it ain't going to be you. It's going to be big, big, big corporations. Now, yes, ma'am.
So what are the proponents for Amendment 2 saying that's making people think it's a good idea?
I'm sorry, Mike.
It's just the parts of
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That you buy?
Get ready your car.
That's the ticket to buy the boat.
Yeah.
That's
And they put it there specifically for just what Mike's saying, buy the vote. They put it there to buy the vote, buy your vote, buy the whole deal. That's what they did. They would tell you that they put it there to do that. You'll get rid of your car tax. Yes, ma'am.
Governor, with all due respect, then is this meaning what you're saying is that the Republican Senate has sold us out in this relationship as to what you're talking about today, that you don't feel that they've done the right thing?
Well, look, let me just say this. You've got 23 Republicans, is that correct? You got 23 out of 34 Republicans, okay? You got two that are really leading the charge here, the president and the chairman of finance, correct? They won't even allow them to vote. You know, it may very well be that you got a lot of really good Republicans and good Democrats in there that don't like this idea, but they won't even vote and everything. And that's the power to just shut it down. I don't have any way to tell you anything except the gospel fact. The House was absolutely, I mean, who in the world would have, I mean, who in the world would believe that on day one you said, cut the income tax by 10% that we just wouldn't do it? It's your money. Why would we have not done that on day one? The reason we can't do that is they need all the money to fund their thing. That's what they need. They need all the money so they can fund their thing. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I'm sure not going to get into the Republican-Democrat deal. I'm not going to get into that. I'm telling you, you got a lot of great Republicans. You got two Republicans that are the head of this effort, and they're probably wedded to it, and they can't get away from it. And by wedded to it, I mean they've taken contributions, they've taken promises, they want to run for another office, whatever it means, they're wedded to it and everything, and they can't get away from it, and they control the ability to hold up the vote. Now, so one other thing, you ask, why is it? They're going to tell you that it'll bring more job opportunity to West Virginia. Well, and what I'm telling you is, there may very well be that it drives some more job opportunity. But for crying out loud, what I'm telling you is there are other methodologies that drive 100 times more job opportunity. You know, I mean, anything we do, we could take a bulldozer and go out there and level off a spot and say, that's going to drive more job opportunity to West Virginia. And it does. It does. But really, you know, if you want to drive job opportunity to West Virginia, you got 2/3 of the population of this country that are driving right through us to go to Tennessee or Florida or Texas, and you've got South Carolina right now in the process of getting rid of their income tax, Georgia in the process of doing it, Mississippi in the process of doing it, and the Federal Reserve sat right in my office and said, what's wrong with y'all? You could control the narrative in every way. Yes, ma'am.
Governor, I'm Susan. I'm the treasurer for the city of Lewisburg. I just want to say, for me personally, the tax on my car would save me $65 a year, but with taking our property taxes, it would put our police department in danger, our fire department in danger, because that's what we use to fund our departments.
Well, think about this. Just think about this. Your car tax is going to save you $65. If you get rid of 10% of the income tax, 10%, what would that save? It would save hundreds, okay? But what if you got rid of all of your income tax? For God's sakes, it would save thousands probably for you, you know? And then you know what you do, just like we all do. You go out and spend it and everything. We'd all go out and spend it. Yeah.
And it also undermines that West Virginia is now a home rule state. You know, we believe that local communities, including county governments and city governments, know the best way to run their own budgets and to know where to spend that money. So this undermines the whole home rule premise.
Bingo. You're exactly right. What is so bizarre is off the chart too is how can Republicans not be for a tax cut? How can Republicans not be for local control versus Charleston control or DC control? It's all about one thing. It's about the nastiness of who we've become. It's the swamp. It is all about that. Yes, sir.
You just mentioning what you did earlier about you haven't heard a business say they wouldn't come here because of the taxes. Well, you've got Kroger, you've got Walmart, you've got Lowe's. If the taxes were that detrimental, they probably still wouldn't be here. And my personal opinion is if this passes, the vehicle tax is going to be somewhere way down the road. It's not gonna do anything other than machinery and equipment, like you mentioned. That's gonna be their first goal. Somewhere down the line, they may do the vehicles, but I think that's where people are getting the misconception that if they vote no for this, they're not gonna get a vehicle tax bill next year. That's far from the truth, as far as I know.
Well, I'll listen, you can tell me I make mistakes all day long, but I'm not ever gonna tell you anything but the truth. And I've not said this in any forum anywhere until today, but I will promise you to God above that the first bill that the governor's office will send up will be to get rid of that crazy automobile tax, because none of us like it. And fund it to where we not necessarily get rid of the tax, but we have enough dollars that we can rebate you back in a rebate form and take care of that. So, but to me, you know, it is, this is a risky deal. And they put it together, in all honesty, if they wanted to be devious about it and put it together in a way that could get it by us, they have. And really, from my standpoint, I thought, sure to goodness, we could sit down with cooler heads and just sit down and say, well, let's do this, and let's do this, and let's do this. And it's nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The House said, yeah, sure, well, this is what we ought to do. You know, let me tell you, if you believed without any doubt that this growth is going to be there and everything else, you could honestly, you wouldn't believe it. But if they would sit down in a room with me, because it's really, really complicated, and it took me months to really get it really down pat. But I got it down pat now. But I'd bet my life on this. We could sit down in a room and change a couple of things and not do much of nothing, and absolutely that quick get rid of half of your state income tax. And on a pathway before I leave, to have the rest of it gone. You know, and man, my goodness, you can't fathom what that would do for us. I mean, it would really be good. But if you do this like this, all you're doing is just getting the stake out, nailing it right in the heart, and you'll never, ever, well, just think, if this costs $600 million, the income tax, the total income tax is $2 billion. Well, if you start layering in all that, you might as well just get a tomahawk and a loincloth and hang out, because that's what you're going to do. You're not going to have a dime for nothing. For nothing. Yes, ma'am.
Question. So, with that affecting our budget as a municipality, and we've already pounded specific people for a lot of money, is this a different pot that we have to, because you know, the city received $63 million with a big project, so would they just be like, well, they had enough, we'd be able to send any there, or how would that?
Dave, that's for you.
How would that affect? I mean, I'm just asking.
No, I mean, I know the answer, but I'm going to let somebody else talk.
We have a lot more projects.
Yeah, there's a lot of strain on the state budget. Some of the things the governor mentioned earlier, that one thing that wasn't mentioned for the county commissioners is the jail bill. That's always a big challenge. That was a challenge the whole time I was a county commissioner. Got the jail bill, the pensions, the state employees, PEIA, all the above. If you start mailing out $600 million for this first step of this plan, that's $600 million that they're not going to have to do everything that they do. And I know that's a broad answer, but it's a fair answer, because unlike the federal government, the state's budget balances. So you take out $600 million, that's real. So it will affect everything that goes on that comes out from the Capitol by way of grants and other things as well.
Let me try to just make it just one step simpler. If you take $600 million out, you got to have $600 million come from somewhere. And if the surpluses dry up, or we have little bumps in the road and whatever like that, then you don't have the $600 million. And before you know it, we spent around 14 times. That $600 million, add inflation and everything else, 2 years to today becomes $900 million or $850 million. It's a demand that you have from a municipality or a county standpoint. So all of a sudden then, it doesn't take a great big bump, and we're upside down. And even if we're not upside down, and we can fund it, and then all of a sudden you're able to get everybody paid. You're able to get all the firemen and the jails, and we got them all paid. But then, well, here's a bill that says, if you'll give us $250 million, the federal government will give you $3 billion back for highways. And we don't have any way to do it. You know, or here's a problem, you know, all of a sudden the stock market is just cratered, and our rainy day investments and everything, and now rainy day's upside down, and so the bond stakers are telling us we've got to put some more money back in rainy day, and well, there ain't anywhere to get it. You know, what I'm telling you is just what, like I said a minute ago, is going to happen. It's going to happen. That's all there is to it. Today you have the crafting to be able to really bring people here. But the bottom line is none of them are asking to do it. None of them are asking, oh, I'm not coming if you don't get rid of that machinery inventory tax. They're not saying that. You know, they're already coming. I mean, for crying out loud, why take all these levels of building risk? And the worst of all is you don't know it, and all you hear is, like Mike said, get rid of your automobile tax. Well, anybody, I mean, why wouldn't I want rid of my automobile tax? Well, I'll sign up for that. And on top of that, it may be for guns too. You know, which is crazy. Crazy. Anybody else got anything else? Look, I'm going to try with all in me. All I ask you to do is just this. There's going to be errors, there's going to be rocks thrown at me, blah, blah, blah. And like I said, I could go and cut the ribbons and do all the stuff and just have the greatest little roller coaster ride to the end. It's unbelievable. And I'm willing to charge and to try to do stuff that's going to save us all. And I do that with great pride. But the only thing I'd really like to see is when you look back, I don't care to be taking the air, but when I look back, I got to see you. I got to see you with me, you know. And if you just go to the sideline and nobody does anything, then at the end of the day, you know, you got to ask yourself a question that constantly comes to me is it worth it? You know, and if I see you there running with me, it's worth it all day long. And you don't have to take the errors and everything else, but you got to help me. You got to help me here, because if not, you're going to blow your legs off. That's all I got. Now, if any of you want to come up and say hi to Babydog, I'll sit right here. Thank you.